You're not deep. You're not just a thinker. You're addicted to thinking, and it's costing you time. It's costing you sleep. It's costing you confidence. It's costing you opportunities. And slowly, it's costing you your life. Because thinking feels safe, thinking feels responsible, thinking feels like progress. But most of the time, it's not progress. It's your favorite escape. You don't escape with alcohol. You escape with analysis. You escape with planning. You escape with, I'll figure it out first. And the worst part? People call you smart for it, so you keep doing it. If you overthink daily, comment ME. No shame. This isn't about being weak. This is about being trapped in a loop that rewards thinking and punishes action. Today, I'll show you the loop, the real cost, and the simple detox system to break it without trying to become a different person. Because you don't need less intelligence. You need less fear. Part 1, what thinking addiction really is. Let's define it clearly. Addiction isn't only drugs. Addiction is anything you use to regulate emotion. Anything you use to avoid feeling. Anything you use to avoid uncertainty. Anything you use to avoid risk. Thinking becomes an addiction when it stops being a tool and becomes a coping mechanism. Normal thinking. You think, you decide, you act. Addictive thinking. You think, you think, you think, and you don't move. And you tell yourself you're being responsible. But look at the output. If you're thinking all day and your life isn't changing, you're not problem solving. You're self-soothing. This is why people can watch 10 videos about discipline and still do nothing. The brain got the comfort already. The feeling of, I'm working on it. But no action happened in reality. And progress only happens in reality. So hear this clearly. Thinking is not the enemy. Thinking is the drug when it replaces living. Story 1. I know what to do, but I don't do it. This is the most common pain. You know what to do. You're not clueless. You know you should. Send the email. Publish the video. Start the project. Set the boundary. Go to the gym. Apply for the job. But you don't. Instead, you think about it. You replay it. You research it. You plan it. You rewrite it. You rehearse it. And at the end of the day, you feel exhausted. Not because you worked, because you fought a war in your head. And then you lie to yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow doesn't fix an addiction. It repeats it. Part 2, why your brain gets addicted. So why does thinking become addictive? 2 reasons. 1, fake control. Thinking gives you the feeling of control. It whispers, if I analyze enough, I'll be safe. If I plan enough, nothing will go wrong. But life is uncertain, so you never finish planning. You keep thinking because certainty never arrives. 2, relief. Thinking gives you relief. You feel anxious. You start thinking. Your anxiety drops a little. Not because the problem is solved, but because your brain feels busy. That drop is the reward. And the brain learns. Thinking equals relief. Action equals threat. Action can be judged. Action can fail. Action can expose you. Thinking is private. Thinking is clean. Thinking is safe. So the brain chooses thinking. And then you call it being smart. But here's the punchline. You don't overthink because you're intelligent. You overthink because you're scared. Fear of rejection. Fear of being wrong. Fear of regret. Fear of being seen. So your intelligence becomes armor. Part 3, the thinking addiction loop. Let's expose the loop. Because once you can see it, you can catch it. Here are the 5 steps. Step 1, trigger. Something creates uncertainty. Un message, a deadline. A conversation, a risk, a decision. Step 2, fear story. Your brain writes a story, not fact story. This is dangerous. This will go wrong. I'll regret this. They'll judge me. Step 3, thinking binge. Now you binge. You replay. You research. You plan. You rewrite. You check. You ask people. You search for certainty. Step 4, relief. You feel relief. Not real peace, just relief. Your nervous system calms down for a moment. Step 5, repeat. Your brain learns that worked. So next time the trigger happens, it repeats the loop faster. That's how addiction strengthens. Now let's make it painfully real. Story 2. I'll figure it out first. Here's the lie that runs your life. I'll start after I understand it. So you watch tutorials, you read advice, you take notes, you open Notion, you build a perfect plan. And for a moment, you feel powerful. You feel productive, but then you close the laptop and nothing changes. Because the reward already happened. You got the comfort of progress without the pain of progress. No risk, no exposure, no chance of failure. Just the warm feeling of, I'm preparing. That's how thinking becomes a drug. It gives you the feeling you're moving while keeping you still. Part 4, the real cost. Now let's talk about what this addiction is costing you. Cost, cancelletuno. Time, hours, disappear. You blink and it's midnight. Not because life is fast. Because you spent the whole day inside your head. Cost #2, sleep. Thinking addiction loves nighttime. Because at night, you have no distractions. So your brain runs. You replay. You predict. You regret. And the next day you wake up tired and unfocused, which makes you more likely to escape into thinking again. Cost #3, confidence. Confidence is built by evidence. Evidence comes from action. If you don't act, you don't build evidence. So you don't build confidence. Then you call yourself incapable, but you never gave yourself a chance. Cost #4, identity. Eventually, you become the person who thinks, not the person who does. You become the person who has ideas, not outcomes. Plans, not results. Potential, not proof. Cost #5, opportunities. Opportunities have windows. You miss them waiting for certainty, while you're thinking someone else is doing, and they don't always do it better. They just do it sooner. Cost #6, peace. Your mind never shuts up, because you trained it to believe silence is dangerous. So it fills silence with thoughts. Overthinking doesn't protect you. It postpones your life. Part 5, the 3-step detox. How to quit the drug. Now the solution. You don't detox by hoping. You detox by changing the loop. 3 steps. Step 1, name the drug. When you catch yourself spiraling, say, this is my thinking addiction. Not, I'm broken. Not, I'm stupid. Just, addiction. Why this works? Naming creates distance. You stop being the thought. You become the observer of the habit. And once it's a habit, you can change it. Step 2, cut the reward. Remember, the reward is relief. So when the urge hits, your job is to not feed it with more thinking. No more research. No more replay. No more checking. No more asking 10 people. No more one more video. Because every time you do that, you reinforce the addiction. So what do you do instead? A fast nervous system reset. Inhale normally, because exhale longer than you inhale. In for 2, out for 4. Do it twice. Then ground for 5 seconds. Name 3 things you see, 2 things you feel, 1 thing you hear. That's enough to cut the panic. You're not trying to solve life in this moment. You're trying to stop the craving. Because thinking addiction is a craving for control. Step 3, replace with 1 tiny action. Now you replace the binge with a tiny action. Ask, what's the smallest action that moves reality forward? Not the perfect action, not the full plan, the smallest one. Examples. If you're thinking about starting, open the file. If you're thinking about a message, write 1 draft reply. If you're thinking about a video, record 1 minute. If you're thinking about a decision, choose 1 small test. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Small action is how you retrain the brain. Because action gives a different reward, real progress. And once your brain starts tasting real progress again, thinking stops being the drug. Because action becomes the new comfort. That's the goal, to make action your default. Story 3, what detox feels like. The first time you do this, it will feel uncomfortable. Your brain will scream, think more, prepare more, don't risk it. That's the craving. Don't obey it. Because every time you tolerate the discomfort and still take one small step, you teach your nervous system, I can survive uncertainty. And that is freedom. You're not becoming careless. You're becoming alive. Part 6. The rule that saves you. Here's a rule to lock this in. Thinking is allowed only after action begins, not before. You can plan after you open the file. You can research after you publish the draft. You can analyze after you do 5 minutes, because action kills fantasy. And fantasy is what thinking addiction feeds on. 7-day challenge. Here's your 7-day challenge. For 7 days, every time you catch a thinking binge, 1. Name it. Thinking addiction. 2. Reset. Long exhale. 3. Action. One tiny step. Day 1, 2. Just catch it. Day 3, 4. Interrupt faster. Day 5, 7. Action becomes automatic. After 7 days, you'll notice something. Your mind still thinks, but it no longer controls you. Because you finally built evidence, I move. And that identity changes everything. You're not addicted to thinking because you're smart. You're addicted because thinking gives relief. But relief is not a life. So break the loop, numb it, cut the reward. Replace with one tiny action. If you want the next video, how to stop night spirals and sleep again, comment next. And if this hit you hard, share it with the one friend who lives in their head and calls it being responsible.